Oh, we've got the dog in as well.
That's right.
Your Rose. Vincent. Now, for my viewers who are new to the channel and you don't know Vincent Paige, have a look through the back catalogue. He's all over the place. Vincent owns the biggest chain of antique centres in the UK. 5 have you got?
5 now.
Five, yeah. He opened an auction room in the southwest of England. There's a video on the channels here. And you really kind of stirred up a hornet's nest, Vincent.
Yeah.
First of all, tell us about briefly what you did in Taunton. Then there's going to be a big announcement for the northwest of England where we are today. Over to you, Vince. Tell us what
Thank you.
happened.
We opened an auction room in Taunton because largely we had a big enough building to do it. I was a little tired of watching people pay ridiculous percentages at other auction houses, and I just felt that we ought to try and do something different. So we made the announcement we were charging 10% flat rate for the buyer, 10% for the seller, and a £1 listing fee.
£1, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. Now it was predicted that this wouldn't last a month.
There was quite a bit of controversy about it. 2 weeks after we made the announcement of what we were doing, and the first auction was January, which was a bit chaotic. I remember you.
I was there. It was, you say chaotic, and I can imagine it being very stressful for you, but I'll tell you what, I had a great time. Have a look at some. I mean, it was absolutely mayhem. But it was brilliant because it was like going back in time.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, a lot of people said that.
Loads of
said
people.
that. Oh, it was great coming into the room, and there's so much atmosphere.
The
and
atmosphere.
loads of people there, and, yeah.
Yes. The only thing we were lacking was cigarette smoke from the old
Yeah.
days. But we had teas and bacon butties and everything. It was proper tradition. It was
Yeah,
great.
no, it worked quite well.
Yeah.
And we kind of progressed from there. And an awful lot of people were of the opinion that, oh wow, don't worry, they won't make that work at 10%.
That's
Don't be
true.
silly, you know. And now we're just about to open our second one 7 months later. But 2 weeks after we announced the first one, and we got the first one going, Sotheby's went into the ATG.
Yeah.
And I believe this was Sotheby's in London, and said we're reducing our fees to 10%.
Did they go right down to 10%?
Yeah, they did.
They
Yeah,
never
yeah.
did.
But I, from what I can remember, they kept quiet about their listing fee.
Ah.
So I think it probably varied depending on what you'd phone them to put
Right.
in. But I don't know for sure.
Okay. So you kick-started a bit of a trend, and Sotheby's following
Well,
you.
I think
Now
so.
that's
Yeah,
something.
yeah, I
isn't
know. Yeah.
it? But it's worked.
Yeah, so far.
And it's making you money.
Yeah.
So it balances out.
Yeah,
it's good.
it's kind of interesting because a lot of people take the attitude that it won't last. Well, it has done. Some people take the attitude, how dare they? How dare they? There seems to be a slightly closed rank scenario.
Oh, right.
The auction industry seems to be a little bit insular.
So have you upset some people by doing this initially?
I suspect we have, yeah. There are a few people that I know that aren't particularly happy.
Right. Okay.
And you can usually tell they're not happy by the sarcastic comments they make.
All right.
You know, when you post something on social media, which is a great leveler, you usually get somebody posting something back.
Right.
You know, I paid to boost a post recently and noticed there was somebody else plugging the death out of somebody else's auction house.
Really? On your post?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which
Okay,
is,
well-
I do find amusing.
Well, you're good at that. You're good at looking at the lighter side because often people in business find it very difficult to handle attacks and criticism online. But if you're not getting them,
Nobody's
Vince,
looking.
Nobody's looking. You're not doing a good enough job.
No, I know.
You need
Try
the
harder.
haters. I have them. Have a look at my feed. There's plenty there. Okay, so that's good. It's working. A lot of people predicted it wouldn't work. You wouldn't make enough money. You are making enough money.
Yeah.
I can see the sales are increasing month on month. So I reckon probably doubled since the first one.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite interesting how initially we got, and I will be blunt, we got a lot of rubbish coming.
Did you? In the
People
beginning?
with boxes of glass and boxes of china. And it got to the point where I thought, enough's enough. We've got to stop it.
All right.
So we went down from about 480 lots to about 280.
Okay.
But the sales were much better.
It's the
And
value
it's
that's
increased,
the most important.
increased, you know?
Right.
And now we don't get people bringing in rubbish into Taunton.
Well,
I suspect it's a very different clientele up here, so it'll be very interesting.
So explain where we are.
We're in Bowness and Windermere in the Lake District.
Yeah.
And we will be having our first sale here on the first Wednesday of October.
That always confuses me. That's very traditional. It's a bit Victorian, isn't it? I can never work out when the first Wednesday of any month is.
No.
I would rather have a day, but you do like tradition. I'm going to be here filming
Yes, you
on the
will,
very.
yeah.
I'm hoping it's as bonkers as the one in Taunton. So this is going to be the auction area here.
Yeah.
It's quite a small space.
Yeah, it's not a big space, but I've kind of come up with the fact that you can watch plenty of programs on TV, and they all show one thing. Nowadays, you hardly get anybody in the room. They all want to bid on the internet. And I mean, we've seen it in Taunton, and I find it hilarious, where people who live within walking distance of the auction room will stay at home, bid online, then wander in the afternoon. You think to yourself, well, they've just paid an extra percentage for the privilege of staying at home rather than coming round, having a free coffee or a tea.
I know.
And I do, you know.
What do you mean a free coffee and tea? I mean, I paid for my tea in Taunton.
Sorry.
Do you do free coffees and tea?
Yeah,
you
yeah,
never.
yeah.
Vincent.
Yeah, we'll do that here.
You're
as
like a
well,
walking charity.
Yeah,
for
we'll
goodness
do
sake.
that here. I think as well.
Really?
Because I think it encourages an atmosphere. It encourages people to come in.
Well, you know, it's funny because recently I was filming for the BBC, and for the very first time I was in an auction room with a film crew, filming the auction that we were selling bits.
Yeah.
We were the only human beings in the room.
Yeah, other than the auctioneer.
Other than the auctioneer. So you want to create that wonderful atmosphere.
Yeah, well, we tried it in Taunton. It started off very well. It's got less. We've got less people in the room. But having said that, we have viewing days on a Monday and a Tuesday. Yeah. And you get a constant stream of people coming in looking at stuff.
Okay, now
I suspect that will happen here because we've got the shop upstairs.
Well, you do. Now, your clientele here, most of your visitors that walk into the shop, the antique centre upstairs, are going to be visitors, aren't they?
Yeah, a fair few, yeah.
You'll probably know the percentage. It's relatively high.
Yeah, it is.
So where is your client base going to be coming from?
I think essentially the client base is going to be coming from, realistically, around 30 miles, 40 miles from here.
From Bowness?
Yeah. And I'm very conscious of the situation with traffic. So what we're doing is we're going to offer a free collection service for within a relatively sensible distance. I don't really want to drive to the other side of Carlisle to pick up a spode vase.
Okay.
You know, but at the same time, if somebody phones and says, "Oh, I've got this, I've got that, I've got the other, but I can't get it down to your shop," no problem. We'll come and get it. Don't worry about it.
Right, free collection.
Yeah. We'll charge them to take it back if it doesn't sell. But
and what about your estimates? That's 10% either way, which is very low, and I think it is the lowest in the country.
Yeah.
You've got the lowest in the country, no doubt about it. What about your estimates? A lot of auctioneers, to get the pieces in, put very high estimates, and then you have a very high unsold rate. I don't think you like that idea. You want, am I right?
Yeah.
You want sensible estimates.
I find it a bit of a farce. Since we started in Taunton, an awful lot of auction houses have now started advertising on Facebook.
Right.
And
is this because of
social
you?
media? Well, I don't know. I can't say.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to say yes, but I can't. I honestly don't know.
I think it is.
And what they tend to do, and I find it quite amusing, is they'll advertise, "Oh, come and see us and have a free valuation at this hotel, that hotel."
Right.
And you Google the hotel and you think, well, if they've hired a room, that's not cheap.
Yeah.
How can they afford to hire a room? Well, they've charged in extortionate fees, and they're doing this off the back of everybody else's from the last sale.
All right.
Oh, that's the way I see it.
Yeah.
And a lot of auctioneers will turn up and they'll value something with a suit on and it looks wonderful. It's only actually their opinion as to what it's worth.
Yeah.
At the bottom line is they can pay or they can say it's worth whatever they feel it's worth. If you've only got two people that want to pay a lot less for it, that's all it's going to reach.
Okay, so you're keen to get things in at a sensible estimate, because I think you're right. I think these days you're on all the platforms, all of the important platforms. You're good with your marketing, with your social media videos and that kind of thing. So whatever you have is going to be found, and it's going to make its market value. So are you level? But are you quite strict though with people saying, look, that's too much? I think it's overrating the estimate. I don't want it. I mean, I do know auctioneers who do that.
Yeah, I know.
And
I
don't see
that. Yeah,
I
I try not to put reserves on things. We've had a couple of people put reserves on things in Taunton,
right?
And I've gone with it and thought, that's too much.
Okay, so is it mainly no reserve? Is that what you're looking
for?
for?
No. I mean, if somebody's got something, they want to put a reserve on it, and we kind of agree with it, then fair enough.
Yeah.
You know, because they want to protect property,
No,
essentially.
okay, no, of course.
You know, which I totally understand. But at the same time, some people tend to get a little carried away with, oh, well, we can put this in, it's only going to cost us £1, you know, and that is the backside of that.
Oh, I see.
Is
So,
that people's attitude can be a
Right.
bit flippant towards,
right.
oh, it's only going to cost us £1.
Okay, because you've got a £1 lot in.
Yeah, yeah.
Which again is remarkably.
Yeah, I know, it's embarrassing. I've often said to people when I've gone to pick stuff up, you know, they said, what about this, what about that, can you take this, can you take that? And I said, look, how much work would you do for £1?
Well, exactly.
And they go, oh, yeah, I thought, yeah. I
Don't you think you can up that? Can you get
I
that
could
up
do,
to
yeah,
£3,
but
£5?
you know, the thing is, I really feel as though once you start putting prices up and up and up, unless you've had a major price increase, unless it's common knowledge the VAT's doubled,
Yes.
you know, which we'll have to register for very, very soon. Unless it's common knowledge that that's happened, if you start putting prices up, people think, oh yeah, here we go, they're going to start putting the prices up, now they've got a captive audience, and I just don't want to do that.
Okay, so southwest and northwest.
Are you
going to be? And you've got branches in Harrogate, and the only place you don't cover. We talked about this recently. Scotland. And Essex Way. I think you need another couple of branches. But are you going to be moving stuff around from the shops as well?
Well, we will. What we're going to do is, if somebody puts something into an auction in Taunton, and it doesn't sell, we will bring it up here and put it into the next one here, free of charge. No charge.
You are an eccentric multi-millionaire, aren't you? He's got to be that.
Well, that has been said, but I just, you know, at the end of the day, it's the general public who bring in their treasured possessions, as you might put it, and they want to get the best value for them they can. All right, I'm sure there are occasions where other auction houses might have got more money for it, but they would have charged a whole lot more.
So it sort of doesn't make much
you
difference.
know, you think to yourself,
okay.
well,
No, I'm with you. Well, it's working for you. You've got a very high selling rate. I know that. Your 10% is working. It must be making you money, otherwise you wouldn't be opening this one here. Right, well, how very interesting. So keep your eyes peeled, because I will be here on the day.
Yes, absolutely.
And Lord only knows what happens when he's involved. So, Vince,
I will be doing the auctioneering as well.
You're going to be the auction.
Yeah.
Vincent,
Well,
do you ever sleep? I don't. You're going to be doing the auctioneering.
Yeah, I kind of fell into it because we've got an auctioneer in Taunton.
Actually, you'd be a very good auctioneer.
We've got an auctioneer in Taunton, and he's ever so good.
Yeah.
I know him very well, and I did sort of mute the idea about whether he'd be prepared to come up here. It's a long way. I mean, it's a 6-hour drive, you know, and he didn't really feel as I could just tell that he wasn't super keen on the idea. You know, I thought, right, I'll do it myself. Not a problem.
Well, why not?
You know, and since I've sort of said that, a lot of people have said, "Oh yeah, you'd be great at this."
I think you will be great. Well, even more reason for you to come back and watch the videos, because not only will this be the very first auction room for, what are you calling it? Saying
AFS, exactly the same,
Okay, and give us the full title.
Aloysius, Fortescue and Smythe.
What a great name. I mean, it's straight out of a Dickens book, there's no doubt about it. But yeah, you must, because it'll be the very first auction in Bowness. But it'll be the very first time that Vincent Paige gets on the rostrum, so that could be hilarious in itself.
Yeah. I think it will be fun, actually.
Okay, so free tea and coffee?
Yeah. And we'll be doing it on the first Wednesday of every month.
First Wednesday of every month. So what date is it next month?
It's October.
Yes.
I believe it's the 2nd.
October.
I'm not sure.
I think it is
all
the
I
2nd.
know, all I know is it's the first Wednesday of the month, because Taunton is the 3rd Wednesday of the month.
Right, don't confuse us
So I kind
anymore.
of thought, well, you know, it's a 2-week gap. Allows us 2 weeks to get back.
The first Wednesday of every month from October 2024 in Bowness on Windermere. Very nice location.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, people can travel. Actually, come for a weekend and visit you.
Absolutely,
I know, visit Vincent if you haven't met him before. It's an experience. Vincent, thanks ever so much.
Thank you very much.
Loads of love.
Oh, cheers.
See you at the auction.
See you soon.